Andrew's play. We're so excited you're here. This has been a dream of Andrew's for a very long time, and we're just happy to make that happen. My name is Sherry Robertson, and I'm the Executive Director of Yarmouth Life Skills. We're a day program for intellectually challenged adults. So at this time, I'd like to thank Sandy Stevens and the Yarc for allowing this to happen. Without this partnership, we just wouldn't have, it wouldn't have been as special. Andrew has dreamed of being on stage most of his life, and I don't know if you noticed the board when you're like you to turn around and thank Kevin for being here. Kevin's the only one with any experience. We just didn't know what we were doing. Today is Andrew's going to do a story by memory by Robert Munch. And then the play will happen, and then he has another story after the play. So don't leave after the play. And then when his recitation is done, we'll be done. And there's food in the entryway, compliments of Andrew's parents. So sit back. Enjoy. You're making a moment in history for Andrew Wilcox.
This is Thomas's Snowsuit, story by Robert Munch. One day, Thomas's mother brought him a nice new brown snowsuit. When Thomas saw that snowsuit, he said,
"That is the ugliest thing I have seen in my life. You said I'm gonna wear that ugly brown snowsuit. You are crazy."
One day, when it was time to go to school, Thomas's mother said, "Thomas, please put on your snowsuit." And Thomas said,
"No."
His mother jumped up and down and said, "Thomas, put on that snowsuit." And Thomas said,
"No."
So Thomas's mother picked up Thomas's one hand, picked up the snowsuit in the other hand, and she tried to stick them together. They had an enormous fight, and when they were done, Thomas was in his snowsuit. And went off to school and hung his snowsuit. When it was time to go outside for recess, all the other kids jumped into their snowsuit and went out the door, but not Thomas. The teacher looked at Thomas and said, "Thomas, please put on your snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No." Ran up and down and said, "Thomas, put on that snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No." Thomas's mother. So the teacher picked up Thomas in one hand, picked up the snowsuit in the other hand, and she tried to stick them together. They had an enormous fight, and when they were done, Thomas was wearing the teacher's dress. And the teacher was wearing the principal's, and the teacher was wearing Thomas's snowsuit. When the teacher saw what she was wearing, Thomas picked up Thomas with one hand, and he tried to put him back into his snowsuit. They had an enormous fight, and when they were done, the snowsuit and the dress were tied in a big knot. And the teacher were The door was open and walked came the principal. The teacher said, "It's Thomas. He won't put on his snowsuit." And so the principal looked at Thomas with his principal look and said, "Thomas, put on your snowsuit." Thomas said, "No." Thomas's mother, so the mother picked up Thomas in one hand, picked up the snowsuit in the other hand, up the teacher in the other hand, and she tried to get everybody back into their clothes. They had an enormous fight, and when they were done, the principal was wearing the teacher's dress. The principal's suit, and Thomas was still in his underwear. From outside, some kid yelled,
Thomas, come and play.
so Thomas put on his snowsuit and he put on his boots, 3 seconds and went out the door. When the principal saw what the teacher was wearing, he said, "Hey, you have on my suit! Take it off right now!" And the teacher saw, when the teacher saw what the principal was wearing, she said, "Oh no, you have on my dress. You take off my dress first." And they argued and argued and argued. All of a sudden, Thomas came back from recess. He looked at the teacher and he looked at the principal. So Thomas picked up the principal in one hand, the teacher in the other hand, and he tried to get everybody back into their clothes. They had an enormous fight, and when they were done, the principal was back into his suit, and the teacher was back into her dress. The next day, the principal quit his job and moved to Arizona.